An historic plan from President Trump. The United States could take over Gaza and rebuild it. He hopes to turn that into what he calls the Riviera of the Middle East.
Well, the plan has already drawn reactions from Israel and Hamas. Chris Mitchell reports from Jerusalem.
President Trump greeted Prime Minister Netanyahu at the White House in what became a day of stunning changes for Israel and the region. At a joint press conference with Netanyahu, Trump made his surprising announcement.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site. Do something different. Just can't go back. If you go back, it's going to end up the same way it has for 100 years.
A Hamas spokesman slammed the American racist stance, saying its aim is displacing our people and eliminating our cause. But one Israeli leader called the idea a miracle. An opposition leader, Benny Gantz, called Trump's initiative creative and original thinking. Trump says the situation presents a rare opportunity.
We have an opportunity to do something that could be phenomenal. And I don't want to be cute, I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East. This could be so magnificent. But more importantly than that is the people that have been absolutely destroyed that live there now can live in peace in a much better situation because they're living in hell.
Trump also making another important statement, saying he'll make an announcement in 4 weeks about annexing the biblical lands of Judea and Samaria, commonly known as the West Bank. Declaring sovereignty over Israel's biblical heartland is a move many Israelis would welcome. While both leaders looked ahead to the future, Prime Minister Netanyahu maintained Israel's war goals against Hamas remain the same during the current ceasefire.
But as we discussed, Mr. President, to secure our future and bring peace to our region, we have to finish the job. In Gaza, Israel has 3 goals. Destroy Hamas's military and governing capabilities, secure the release of all of our hostages, and ensure that Gaza never again poses a threat to Israel.
Trump also announced other major actions. He signed an executive order reinstating maximum pressure on Iran, saying Iran can never be allowed to have a nuclear weapon. He signed an executive order banning U.S. funds for the United Nations Relief and Works Agency and withdrew the U.S. from the UN Human Rights Council. But Trump's plan to take over Gaza remains an historic proposal that is already having a major impact here in Israel and throughout the Middle East. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Well, CBN's Kelly Wright is with us now from the White House. Well, Kelly, the word I've got is gobsmacked. I just can't, I had no idea that this would even be possible. Were you surprised to hear the president say the U.S. would take over Gaza?
Gordon, to be fully transparent and honest, I was not surprised. In a very candid way, the president sort of telegraphed his evening bombshell message to the world during an Oval Office meeting that he held with reporters yesterday before meeting with Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. What he stated was that something had to be done about the Palestinian issue and about Gaza. And at that specific conference with a pool of reporters, he even stated then that we must deal with Hamas, we must deal with Gaza. Gaza is too uninhabitable because of explosive ordinances that have not been exploded and they're still there, buildings that are like rubble that could fall down on people. So he said something has to be done. So when he made his full-throated plan last night, it came as no surprise to me. Yet in the room that was packed with reporters from Israel as well as the United States, you could hear a gasp that he was being that bold to set forth this plan.
Well, let's just talk about what's going to happen to the Gazans as the rebuilding effort happens. So far, Jordan and Egypt are saying no to some kind of resettlement plan for them. Where are they going to live during the rebuilding?
Well, he was asked that question last night. And of course, a lot of his critics are saying, where are you going to put the Palestinian people during this rebuilding that may take years, Gordon, in order to accomplish, especially if they're going to make it a place where people can be profitable and live in peace. And so we don't know at this particular point in time. He did say that he's still talking to Egypt and Jordan, and he anticipates that with some discussion, they may be a little bit against it now, but he believes that, I suppose, going back to his art of the deal, that he'll be able to persuade them to do something to help the Palestinian people. Going forward, as you know, he'll face a lot of criticism, but he has definitely disrupted diplomatic circles, and he's disrupted the Arab world to start thinking about this. And some people looking at the president are saying that it's out of the box thinking, but it's a fresh idea, it's a bold idea, and just might help bring peace to the Middle East.
Well, Kelly, thanks for the insight, and thanks for reporting from the White House. Well, with us now from our Washington bureau is the Israeli ambassador to the United Nations, Danny Danon. Welcome back to the 700 Club, Ambassador.
Thank you for having me again, Gordon.
Give us your perspective. What's the Israelis' perspective on the president's Gaza plan?
Well, first, we are grateful for President Trump for receiving Prime Minister Netanyahu as the first foreign leader to enter the White House. It showed the strength of the bond between the U.S. and Israel, and we have been waiting for that. And, you know, when we heard the president speaking about his vision, we realized that he is a leader, a strong leader with a vision who thinks out of the box. You know, for years, people repeated failed assumptions, and here comes a leader who is not afraid from criticism or from the public opinion and said exactly what he thinks should be happened. We welcome it. We think that's what we need in the Middle East, a new approach for peace.
Well, I just have to say, the American would absolutely need Israeli help on this. Is Israel willing to do that? Any other countries, would they be involved?
Well, you know, we will support the U.S. You know, we are strong allies of the U.S. I want to remind you that we haven't completed the mission in Gaza. We have to bring back all the hostages, and we have to eliminate Hamas. So we will continue with those missions, and I think they will serve the vision of the president, because no one can imagine that Hamas will stay there. And I think for that matter, our efforts in Gaza must continue.
Well, I agree. The first and foremost, the hostages have to be released and returned home. And I can't imagine a world where Hamas is still in control of Gaza. That is just unacceptable. Well, the president also said he has an announcement, will have an announcement in 4 weeks concerning Israel annexing Judea and Samaria. What are you expecting in that announcement?
Well, you know, we believe in our rights to the land. It's a biblical land. You know, Gordon, you came so many times to Israel, and the people who are watching us, they are strong believers who know that this land belongs to the Jewish people. That's a fact. It's written in the Bible. No one can argue about that. And I think today, with the new administration, not only from the Jewish community, I hear it from elected officials who are telling me now is the time to think about what the U.S. can do to actually recognize the biblical rights to the land. So we will welcome that, and we are waiting. You know, the president said yesterday 4 weeks. We are counting the days.
Well, I remember the initial plan to annex was put on hold because of the Abraham Accords, and I actually grieved it. I thought it was sort of about time that that Israel assert a sovereignty over these areas. So I look forward to it as to what the plan was going to be. Do these developments, I know this is a really big question, but it's been put forward that there shouldn't be a two-state solution anymore. There should be a one-state solution. So if the United States takes Gaza, rebuilds it into some Riviera of the Mediterranean, then okay. But for the remainder of the West Bank and the Palestinian cause, should that all now be one Jewish state?
So no one speaks about a two-state solution today. After October 7th, you know, we realize that there is no viability. You know, once you actually allow Hamas to stay in power, we saw what they are capable of doing. So I think today, majority of Israelis are not there, are not even discussing the idea of a two-state solution. And I think basically, you know, you have Jewish communities in Judea and Samaria that will stay there. They are not going anywhere. And with the new vision for Gaza, there is an opportunity for a better life for the Palestinians themselves. You know, so many countries, and I'm at the UN now, going on for my second term, and I've heard hundreds of speeches. They all speak about the Palestinian cause, but they're not doing much. So now they have an opportunity to actually do something and support the Palestinians in Gaza, and not just to blame Israel for everything.
Let's talk about the UN. I've said for years now that UNRWA should go away. And now that the U.S. once again is banning U.S. funding for UNRWA, should that organization just be dissolved?
Absolutely. Sooner the better. You know, we proved that this organization allowed Hamas to infiltrate, to take over. You know, I even showed at the UN a video of an UNRWA employee who entered Israel on October 7th, kidnapped Israelis, and when he came back to Gaza, he received a paycheck from UNRWA. And you know who paid for UNRWA? All those countries who donated their funds. And I think yesterday the president made it clear that the U.S. will not continue to fund UNRWA anymore. And I believe that more countries will join the U.S. and will not allow UNRWA to continue. It's about time that UNRWA will not exist.
Well, we appreciate you, Ambassador. You definitely are Daniel in the lion's den at the UN, and may you continue to have unusual wisdom and unusual insight, just like Daniel did. We're with you, and we're praying for you. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, Gordon. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.